everybody, Luke Bell. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of listener viewer submitted clips. You can send your clips in to us by clicking the link in my bio. I love watching all these. I do watch them all. Not all of them make it to air, but we try to get as many as we can in. So send them my way. I'll be watching them on all these upcoming episodes. Let's get started.
There's evidence of people who were transgender in ancient Greece, Rome. Judaism is an example of a religion that acknowledges, I think, 6 or 7
I don't know
genders.
about that.
I don't think that's quite true. And my evidence for that would be in the very first book of the Torah, in Genesis. One of the most prominent lines is that in the beginning, God created man, both male and female created he them.
It's not Judaism. I think what the original translation, I can't cite my source right now.
Okay,
but
I don't know.
From what I've learned going to different religious schools, is that
Jewish schools?
Just synagogues, temples. I've tried and experienced different religions.
Have you?
They said that the original text said Adam and Eve as in one being, one.
Well, man. So in the earliest chapters of Genesis, you have the creation of man in Adam. And then Eve is created from Adam's rib, but she would be the other sex. What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in a third and a fourth and a fifth gender, but that just isn't true. That is that's been made up by white liberals. You
know the movie Mulan, Disney Mulan?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan, dresses as a man, right, goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh yes, cross-dressing has occurred in history.
Not just cross-dressing, but people who
in Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Of course not. I love the look on her face as the interview progresses. You could just see her realizing that she's lost the argument and that she doesn't have the facts. I don't know a lot about Michael Knowles. I've heard the name. I'm sure I've seen him on Twitter, but he is very well spoken and very intelligent. That was a very well articulated argument. I mean, better than I could ever do, certainly, but I'm impressed with the way he was able to recall those facts so quickly.
I have a friend who has a trans kid.
God.
He's explained that, my child from a very young age consistently said, I am a girl, never changed their mind. And so the humane thing and the thing that he felt was going to do as a parent
by the way.
was to embrace that choice. I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice, embrace that identity.
But it is a choice, right? You're choosing to add hormones to a child's body.
It's a choice it's a choice on the part of the parent.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Because I'm sorry, can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. Why are you adding hormones? You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
Yeah. The evilness of harming children to affirm their gender identity is absolutely insane. This has got to stop. I mean, hormone blockers, operations on children. This is all ridiculous. When I was a kid, I wanted to grow up to be a fucking astronaut. At some point in my life, I realized I'm not that smart. But seriously, though, the irresponsibility of these parents to not only do these things, but to encourage those beliefs in the first place. Because no child is going to think that they're the opposite gender unless they're encouraged to do so by an adult. Just plain and simple.
I'm going to be right here. And you can squeeze it.
The 6th grader is about to have a tiny medical device implanted in his left arm.
Cut this up.
Jack's dad and mom are at his side.
Oh, jeez, I'm really terrified.
It's just your head.
Hey,
Jack, relax.
Meredith's going to put some more numbing to make sure that it's all numb, okay?
The implant stops female puberty and will keep Jack from growing breasts.
There you go.
What would you say to people who think kids are just too young
to
make this kind of decision?
Evil.
Sure, I'm a kid, but it doesn't take a genius to realize that I'm not a girl.
An estimated 1.4 million adults in the U.S.
The
identify
whole world has
as
gone
trans,
insane.
150,000 teens. But figures for younger children are largely unknown. Here in the Bay Area, there are at least 6 clinics for trans kids. UCSF serves about 800 children at its 3 clinics. Stanford sees 300 kids. Kaiser Permanente wouldn't tell us how many patients it sees at its 2 centers. But we do know there are more than 1,000 trans children served at the other 4 clinics. Some kids started therapy at 3 years old to transition socially,
Jesus Christ.
which means changing their names and wardrobes to match the gender they choose. Which brings us back to Jack.
You want to see it? Yeah. So
It's been more than 2 years since a medical implant began pausing his puberty.
It went really well. It's in there, and you know what? It's working right now.
Doctors recommend kids get off puberty blockers by the time they turn 14, which means Jack will soon have to decide whether to start taking testosterone to blend in as a boy, or get off the drugs to restart puberty as a girl.
Why would I ever want to go back into that shell? Because I know deep down inside I am a boy. And I know I won't change my mind because being a boy is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, why would I ever want to be a girl again? Because I know that's not me.
Everybody in that room should be arrested. The parents, the doctors who are doing this shit. I mean, that is sick. And I hate that this news report is framing it as some like magical, oh, we're just going to pause the puberty and it's going to be great. He can resume it at a later time. And that's not how that works at all. There's 1,000 complications I'm not smart enough to recall or articulate at the moment. But we don't even know a lot of the adverse effects of doing shit like this because it hasn't been studied. These people are the guinea pigs. It's absolutely disgusting. Jail those parents, jail the doctors. Swear to God.
My daughter's 4 years old. I am an anti-racist educator, quote unquote. She's still watching Disney movies and she is choosing a white princess over princesses of color.
Have you talked to her about that?
All the time.
My 3-year-old daughter is her favorite princess is Moana.
Love it.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
But then I also thought, you know, there's a little bit of cultural appropriation here. She wants to be Moana for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we navigate that? Do I go and buy the Pacific Islander native attire for my white 3-year-old?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
But I guess what we might call the Moana problem here is what
Moana problem.
On one hand, there's cultural appropriation. On the other hand, there's gravitating
Matt
towards
Walsh is a fucking national treasure, man.
Characters.
Right.
So it's almost like no matter which way you go, you end up back in racism.
We think every space belongs to us because we live in a white supremacist society.
Is America an inherently racist country?
I think the word inherent is challenging there. If we say...
Fundamentally,
yes. America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah.
I gotta see that movie. Apparently that movie is hilarious to people on both sides of the aisle. I gotta see it. That's all I gotta say. Am I racist? In theaters now. Matt, I'll send you the bill for that plug.
27-year-old transgender woman. I am a wolf-therian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this inner wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Wolves?
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing
Dude, I don't know how Matt has the patience and like the fortitude to sit through that shit with a straight face, because I wouldn't be able to do it. That's insanity. This is why we need to bring back mental institutions. We need to lock people like that in mental institutions and get them out of society.
Now that my cake pops are gone, a lot of people have been asking if I'm going to use the cake pop stick and turn it into a donut. Every trans person approaches this question in a different way. The trans women I've met who have donuts are really happy with them, but there's always a risk, and it takes almost a whole year to recover from the surgery. Down the line, I might get a donut, but right now I'm focused on removing my facial hair and my body hair. There are actually 2 different ways to create a donut. First way is to take the cake pop stick.
I don't want to
and
watch this.
Kind of turn it inside
Whoever
out,
sent this,
and that turns into the donut.
Fuck you for
The
making
second
me
way doesn't use the cake
have
pop
these
stick
images
at
in
all.
my head.
It uses tissue from your abdomen and turns it into a donut.
I don't.
This method is actually really cool because
I don't like
it
any
allows
of this.
the donut
I'm very
to
uncomfortable right now.
glaze itself. At the end of the day, getting a donut does not make you any more or less of a trans woman.
Oh, Jesus.
Every trans person is different. Everyone's journey is different. Being a woman means lots of things. Having a donut is just one of those things.
Bro, that's a man. I mean, if you talk like this and you're trying to pretend like you're a woman, get a grip, bro. Get a fucking grip. Feel like that guy who does those videos, John somebody or other. He used to work in the Trump admin. He's like, if genitals don't define your gender, then how does removing them affirm it? And he takes a bite of something. Wow. You guys brought the heat with the clips today. That was some true insanity. Keep sending them in. Link is in the bio. See you guys next time.